I'm Billy Johnson, professional race car driver, development driver, and driving coach, as well as engineering consultant, and this is Supercar Connection.
This is the Supercar Connection podcast, bringing you behind-the-scenes conversations from across the industry. If you love supercars, you're in the right place. So let's hit it.
In my opinion, that's why I think like it's so important for someone like you to be able to share that perspective, because 99% of people hate on things without an actual understanding of why they hate those things, or like a reasonable understanding why they hate those things. They allow their emotions to be why they hate things.
Or they just, most of them, parrot what other people say.
100%. So you can actually sit there and pick apart every brand, even the brands you love the most. If you had to pick a brand that you dislike the most, what would it be?
That's the problem.
There has to be something that you just don't, you're not fond of, or you're not attracted to, just naturally.
The Scion toaster that destroyed my NSX. I'm hating on that right now.
It's like Scion NB or some shit like that. I think I know exactly the car.
The box car.
The box car.
Yeah. Well, not the super boxy car. It's
no?
No.
Not the TC.
No, it's
TC?
There's no way.
No, it wasn't TC.
It destroyed your NSX. How bad was it?
It wrote the car off.
It did?
Yeah.
They totaled it then?
Yeah, that's why I had the new one and painting that. But yeah.
How long did this happen?
Back in September.
Oh, so semi-recent then.
Yeah. No, it messed me up. I got all the car crashes I've been in. Race cars are so safe these days. And then on the street, I get rear-ended by someone doing 50 when I'm on the side of the road. And that actually hurt me more than any
getting
car crash.
50
race car crash.
You were at a dead stop?
Dead stop. Side of the
road.
road.
Oh, wow.
That's bad. 50 going to dead stop? Yeah, that'll fuck you up. You were just sitting in the vehicle?
Yeah. No, I was sitting there and trying to figure some stuff out. And then all of a sudden my head is in the roof. And put a massive welt on my head. I tacoed the steering wheel, and the car was done.
You literally get pushed into like the top roof pillar or something like that, or what exactly?
Well, just the impact, like getting hit from the rear and then going forward. Like, I'm a tall guy.
Right.
My head went into the roof of the car.
Oh no, forget it.
It was bad. Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible experience.
It was not fun.
What was the reason you were on the side of the road?
There was I tuned the car, and there's something that I was trying to check and see. There was an issue with it. But yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, no wonder the car was totaled. That will rip the back of your car apart.
It did.
Is your neck all right?
No, it wasn't. Like I said, that was the worst crash I've ever been in terms of injuries. So
you're not strapped in, 4-point harness, helmet on.
No.
All the rest.
You said something right now that caught my attention. Is you said that race cars these days are so safe.
Yes.
What do you mean by that? Expand on that as a whole.
Well, kind of the saying goes is, I remember the day when race cars were dangerous and sex was safe.
Now it's the opposite.
It is.
It's most definitely.
Well, no, just the technology in race cars these days they're so safe. And kind of one criticism at the NASCAR level is back in the day, like if you got in a crash, like you were limping, you were hurt. But now there's almost no penalty for driving like a jerk. So a lot of the younger kids go up and they don't get physically hurt from doing stupid stuff. So they continue to do stupid stuff. They have the budget and the sponsorship behind them, and they continue to drive that way. So you can't get punched in the face anymore for being stupid, and it doesn't hurt when you get crashed. So
is that a thing, getting punched in the face in NASCAR?
Yeah, it is.
It's like hockey?
It was a lot like hockey. Much less now, but...
We're talking about getting in actual fistfights?
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, I think
no way.
Ricky Stenhouse
American racing, baby.
Bro, that's awesome.
I think it was like last week. Ricky Stenhouse just decked Kyle Busch.
Okay, so let's paint that picture for me then. So what? Somebody
even those
caused
names,
a bad wreck.
Just hear Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch absolutely probably
got in a fist fight after an American car race.
Yes.
So they literally somebody causes a crash. Everyone spins out. Whoever the parties are involved, they get out of the vehicles, and then they're like, "So
you need to watch some NASCAR."
I watch. My thing is, I'm not a big I can't watch the events because for me, it's like it's enjoyable to a certain degree, but then at some point, I'm like, all right. So I watch the highlights of it. In the highlights, they don't show that.
Now, to be fair, so one, like I race NASCAR. I've done 8 NASCAR races, and great sport. Really enjoy racing in it, but as a fan, including like watching races with other people in the industry, like, yeah, you watch the start, you take a nap, and then you watch the finish.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So my whole thing is I normally watch the start, then something happens where it takes me away, and then I either miss the finish or I'm like, I'll just watch the highlights.
Well, it's like baseball. It's better to watch a game in like 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
100%, yeah.
Unless you're there
start.
drinking a beer and eating a hot dog.
Well, that's kind of the,
You might
the
as well
point
not
of
be there.
being at any sport, right?
That's pretty much. I can't even imagine what is like a NASCAR event or even like. It's probably got to be one of the
lot
most
of beer.
unique experiences on the
A
planet.
lot of beer.
A lot of beer.
A lot of beer.
Kidding me? Yeah.
I can't even imagine being involved in
What are all the different areas you raced in?
So I mostly did my career in sports car racing. I started in Formula cars, so kind of the IndyCar looking pointy things with wings. And then quickly after that, I got into sports car racing and worked my way up the ranks from the lowest level with no budget sponsorship or financial backing, and climbed the ranks through being at the right place at the right time and some key people along the way, and ended up racing in the 24 Hours of Le Mans for Ford. Also have done a few NASCAR races, so 7 Xfinity races and 1 Cup race driving Richard Petty's number 43. So that was a huge honor. So yeah, kind of prototypes, sports cars, NASCAR.
Yeah. Was the NASCAR thing through Ford as well?
It was. So all those races were with Ford, most of them with Roush.
Mm-hmm. And you were in on like helping develop the Ford GT, the I guess you'd call it the 3rd gen Ford GT.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So I was racing Mustangs for Ford, and then I was driving for a company called Multimatic, who is based out of Canada. They're the ones that were heavily involved in the manufacturing and design of the cars. So since I was racing for Multimatic, they were in charge of building the car. They needed test drivers, so they used me and my old teammate Scott Maxwell. And like from day one, we were driving the race car and the street car.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what does that process look like? You drive the cars and you tell them, it's like it needs this or it's missing this, and then they just dial it in, or what?
Absolutely. So there's a whole bunch of engineers, a whole bunch of really, really smart people, and you drive the car and you give feedback on the balance, the character. It's doing this well, it's doing that poorly, and then they make changes to it. And then you just keep refining that until you achieve your goals. But another part is also benchmarking. So every manufacturer does this. So in developing the Ford GT, we had a Ferrari Pista, and we had shortly thereafter the 675 LT came out, which is significantly faster than the Pista. Right. So then it's like, okay, well, now we have to go faster than that.
Benchmarking against the Pista, and then all of a sudden,
it's the 675 drops.
Yeah.
I don't think, let me stress this. I don't think people understand how difficult and how crazy a concept is, like that you're able to tell the difference and being able to give feedback to people that develop those cars. It's not like a food critic where you're like, oh, this is missing a little here, a little there. To be able to understand the very intricate differences between like the way it handles, the way it gives power down, all that stuff, your experience has to be so amassed that you have to have driven so many different vehicles so you can understand the way that a motor or a setup puts power down or even takes a corner. That's a crazy skill set. Like that's like a years and years and years building skill set to get to that point.
You're just going to put down food critics like that?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Anybody, any critic, anything like a movie critic, they watch movies like, okay.
Hey, movie critic is different. Here. That's why you got the critic score and the audience score so different. But like a food critic, it's all about like the balance of acidity, like
how much A1 sauce is too much.
I'm putting them down. Bro, to be able to get into
another NASCAR reference over here.
Yeah. To be able to get into a
my steak medium well with a bunch of A1s.
Imagine like, okay, so you drove like the first version of the Ford GT.
I believe that I'm pretty sure I was the first person to drive a vehicle with a Ford GT body on it on a racetrack. It was a tube frame. It was not the right chassis, but we had it at Sebring, and yeah, it was an interesting test mule. But also, like, you think testing, oh, it's great. Like the cars are perfect, and it's very romantic. No, like they're shitboxes.
Right. Yeah,
to
in the
start
early
out
stages are shitboxes.
Everything is like, it doesn't roll off and it's like, oh, it's perfect, we're just going to make it a tiny bit better. Like they're like a lot of the test mules for the GT, they were like F-150 or Mustang steering wheels. They're way too big, but it's development. It's not a criticism for the development by any means, but that you use what you have and you get by until the production intent steering wheel comes out.
Right.
Until the production intent gauge cluster comes out, you have all sorts of random stuff in there. So it's like every car is like that. You don't have the car drive on the track for the first time like 99% done. No, it's like 50% done, and then you work on stuff. So it's not like a criticism of shitbox, but if a layman look at it, it's like, what is that?
No, it's just being realistic. That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine us driving a 50% Ford GT. We would be like, it's fucking awesome. Like, this is ready to roll. Let's start printing these bad boys. He was like, no. We need to do this to get to that final product. That's kind of what I'm trying to attest to.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
It's insane for you to be able to drive that car at 50% and be able to be like, no, this could be better. You guys need to work on this. I would get in and be like, I'll take one tomorrow. Like, I'll take one yesterday type shit.
But like you look at development drivers for different manufacturers. I forget the famous Lamborghini guy. What do you know his name?
Balboni?
Yes, him. So
Encyclopedia, baby.
I don't know his background, but when you look at different development drivers for most production cars, a lot of them are like engineers. Like that's their job is they engineer, they do the math, and they figure all that stuff out, and then they drive it. It is not super common to have like race car drivers drive the cars and give feedback. So it was really unique in my involvement with the Ford program on like the Shelby GT350, the GT500, and then into the GT, because I'm working with these development drivers that have years of experience, but they're engineers with, when you're talking about that finesse, that feeling, that experience, they have that, but they have that at a lower, I guess, lap time or speed level. So
they're not drivers first.
100%. But then
first.
If you have, on the flip side, if you have a race car driver that gives feedback as they would for racing, like that's kind of
style
on the completely opposite end of the spectrum. So finding that blending middle ground of, yeah, we want it to handle amazing and be fast, but we also want it where it's not going to scare people to drive it, is an interesting blend that we were able to do on all those programs.
Yeah. So do you feel like it, how do I even say this? With the Ford GT, you were super involved in the development process there as a development driver and all that stuff. So does that make the Ford GT like the best road car you've ever driven? Because you were a part of dialing it in right to where you wanted it to be. I mean, maybe that's the real question. How much was it like dialing it into where you wanted it to be, or just giving objective feedback about too much oversteer, too much understeer, XYZ?
Well, they were all just really special experiences. Like everybody on the team, the other development drivers, the engineers, just all a lot of cool, smart people working towards the same objective. So it doesn't matter like if you're playing sports, like if you have that vibe with your team and you guys kill it and win the championship or win the event, like you have that bond, you have that kind of special feeling. And for the most part, all those programs like worked so well with everybody involved that truly was the magic that made the magic of the end result. But like the GT350 and 500 were also very special to me. So when I see them out on the road, or when I talk to like people who own the cars and love them, like that's like super rewarding. I think that's kind of one of my favorite parts about the whole experience, is to see the enjoyment of somebody who loves what part of what you were in the creation of.
You built.
But to answer your question, what's really special about the GT is that it was like no other car. And I'm not talking like out of romance of, oh, I was a part of it, so it's the best thing in the world. Like, just think about it. When you have a McLaren, building a McLaren, an awesome road car, and then they turn it into a GT3 car and they go racing. Ferrari, Porsche, they build their cars, then they turn them into race cars and go racing. Ford didn't build those type of GT3, GT Le Mans type of vehicles, and they never really raced the the Mustang at Le Mans. They did, but not really. Ford's like 50 years after winning that 1966 race, Ford versus Ferrari, we're going to go back and win Le Mans. We're going to build a car to go win Le Mans. It's like, we're not going to build an amazing hypercar and then go race it. We're going to build a car to win that race. A race that there are people who spend their whole lives and years trying to win it, never win it.
Right.
So to have the expectation of we're going to win this race 50 years later, like that was just a massive, like ballsy thing to say. And they did it. But to build a car from scratch just to win that race, that is special. And then also to build the car to win the race and then also make a road version of it. Like, in my opinion, what's the coolest cars? It's homologation specials. Like the E46 M3 GTR with the V8, the 911 GT1, the McLaren F1 GT1, as well as like the CLK GT1, GTR. Yeah. Those things are, and then all the rally cars, those things are badass vehicles. The 190E Mercedes, come on, like some of the coolest cars.
Some of the rarest shit on the planet.
And
yeah. Not a whole lot of those today.
No.
100%.
Would the Mustang GTD count as that?
So
that category? Because it's kind of a Mustang, but it's also kind of straight from their GT3.
Kind of, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Well, that's like your favorite car, the Porsche GT3 RS. So that is where you take your 911 and make the most badass version of it. And also they race that. That's Ford's now racing the GT3 or Mustangs in GT3, and they're making the most badass version of that. So that's more in line of like traditional build a race car, build a super badass car from your base car, where the GT was from the ground up to win that race. And really it's been a real long time, decades, since a manufacturer has done something like that. Usually they have a business case and it's like, we're going to make and sell some of these supercars or hypercars, and then, hey, we might go race it.
Right. How different was the platform that you drove for the GT for the Win Le Mans in comparison to the one that hits the road?
That's also a really cool thing that makes the GT very special, is that it is very similar. So look at the Porsche. Where's the engine on the 911?
The rear.
The engine in the 911 RSR that we were racing against is mid-engine.
Really?
Interesting.
And
look at that.
How about that?
Then BMWs, they have struts in the front, suspension.
Right.
The race car has an upper and lower proper control arm. So I think for racing, like, they need to go back to those homologation specials. I want to see a mid-engine 911 like the old GT1s. Like, that would be badass.
Super badass.
I want to see a fully built BMW with similar kind of suspension and technology that's in their road cars. But those are what's called like concessions. So for these manufacturers to make their road cars into race cars, they have to make them inherently better. So they ask for those concessions.
Right.
Where the GT was from scratch, like optimizing the rules.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the handling on a mid-engine Porsche like that?
Can you imagine a BMW supercar?
Fuck, that would be fucking incredible.
Remember the M1?
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool.
It's honestly, that's like a little hot topic that him and I have together that we always talk about, like the fact that BMW has yet to do like a supercar type thing. Like, I feel like
the i8 didn't count. Obviously.
I was just about to say, come on, the i8.
Total joke. They have all the tools they need to make such a cool sports car or supercar, and they're just like, no, the M4 is as sporty as it gets.
Yeah. Like, we'll give you the M8. That's the best we'll do.
Like, our only theory is that all BMW, all M owners specifically, just strive to have a 911 GT3. So they're like, maybe, we don't want to do this because none of these guys are actually going to buy our sports car. As soon as they can afford something of this price, they're just going to go get a GT3 instead.
Bro, they're in cahoots with each other.
That's probably it.
Porsche and BMW Porsche's like, hey, listen, don't do that shit. Let them graduate to our level. We'll give you guys a kickback on all the sales on the GT3.
We won't make an M3 competitor. We'll make an M4 competitor.
That's it.
We'll keep it with the Panamera big. We'll make Macans for the wives. And
BMW has direct competitors for the Macan and the Panamera.
True. They do have direct competitors for those exact cars. But I don't know. It is a very like interesting topic that we do discuss from time to time, just simply because the capabilities there, and yet they just never decide to do it. Which again, they're each their own. They have their own target audience, and they do what sticks with them. But I just picture, like you said, like even M1, like if they expand on that platform and develop it into like a modern platform.
Yeah, if they brought the M1 back with like a carbon chassis, that would be
The car,
rad.
it'd be
so
ridiculous.
sick. Yeah.
It would literally legitimately compete in the under $500,000 spectrum in terms of performance. It'd be very hard to beat a lot of that stuff because of what the standard BMWs do now.
As long as they didn't put that beaver tooth grill on the front.
They can honestly, I would honestly be down, slap it on there, give me something, I would take it at this point.
Yeah.
Because they would
The old M1 grill was like tiny little,
super like a little thing.
yeah, little mustache.
We've seen the BMW LMDH race cars. The whole front end is a kidney grill.
Yeah.
Is it really?
It is.
That's where they're headed.
Well, that's also like ducting for the aero, but
Flow
it's
and everything in
it's
between.
funny how they stretched it out in the race. It makes a lot of sense, but it's
You have
kinda
much
ironic.
experience with any of the supercar brands? Lambo, McLaren, Ferrari?
racing the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series here in Southern California. I've driven and set a lot of records at our local Button Willow racetrack in McLaren. So, like I set that track record in the 600 LT, then broke it with the 720, then broke it again with the 600 LT with an alignment, then broke it again with the Senna, which had like a horrible alignment and really awful tires on it from the owner that put on there.
But was still was able to beat the other cars.
Yeah, by seconds. Yeah.
That's crazy. So that Senna is really, the Senna's that man.
It's fast. I would love to drive one that's like properly aligned with good tires.
Right.
But
What was your experience driving like all those? Break it down for me.
all three of those McLarens,
Honestly, 720 and Senna. I don't give a shit about 600.
I like the 600 a lot.
The 600 LT, I guess I shouldn't say that because the 600 LT does hold a special part in my heart because
And you got a race car driver. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
It
Well,
doesn't
that-
have that black magic suspension with the actuators and stuff. It's
That
just a
car
more-
is
Well, that's what
most
makes
raw
it kind of pure.
It's
I
the
know,
most
that's what
raw
I'm saying.
version I think out of all
Yes.
three
That's
cars.
what I'm saying. You would like it.
Literally, it's that thing weighs what, like 2,900 pounds, maybe.
Yeah.
and it's got
I don't.
fucking.
Is it lighter than the 675? I don't know if it is.
I think so.
I think it is. I think it might be like
So it's the
lightest
smallest and
McLaren.
lightest with the most archaic or suspension.
Correct.
But
Most track oriented.
Gives it more of a.
I think it literally is their most track oriented vehicle. If I'm not mistaken. Like that they sell fucking for the roads. If I'm not mistaken. Correct me. if
It
I'm
all
wrong.
depends on what you mean by that. I think.
Yeah, it's the most, I guess, analog or pure
Yeah,
or
it is.
traditional.
Yeah. Add
Where
everything they sell.
yeah, the Super Series has way more technology, active stuff going on that
Yes.
makes the performance way higher.
Yeah, because
but
the 765
it takes away.
Oh no, absolutely. It was,
So is that not track oriented?
I guess I wouldn't say
You just
that.
mean
That's
the
more
raw
performance oriented.
experience.
It's more performance. I'm more. Yeah. I guess I'm
Trying to
more,
dial in what you mean by this.
Maybe I don't even know what the fuck I mean by this. More so the car that like if they had to pick one to be just built to take it directly on the track, the 600 LT is what I imagine they would take or they would build off.
That's the one you had the most fun in, you think?
I think the new 4GT is probably the most analog, raw, best chassis ever made driver's car because it doesn't have all that active stuff in it. It doesn't have an e-diff, doesn't have the rear brake actuation like the 700 or the Super Series in the McLaren side of things. It doesn't have Magna Ride suspension. It has some of the best dampers in the world. The spool valves are in F1 cars and prototypes. It has torsion bar springs like a Formula One car. It has a traditional clutch type differential and just everything about hydraulic steering, which I love about the McLarens, how they stuck with the hydraulics. All of those in how it was finished and set up is incredible. And the 600 LT is kind of like the baby 4GT. That's the way I view it.
Really?
In that regard. Now, I love the 720. Like, it is faster. There is more going on. And for, like, if I was to daily drive or drive, especially in our awful streets, a 720 or a 600, I'd probably do the 720 because it rides amazing. Like, everything about that, it's so great. So it just depends on what you want to do, what you want. Do you want the pure rawness or do you want to go a little bit faster and have that comfort? Like, everybody's different. Absolutely. So, like, what's best for you?
That's the key there.
It really is. Then
That's the thing I think a lot of people don't understand and they get mad at us for.
That little key difference.
Yeah, that little key difference that everyone likes different things, and that should be okay.
No, you have to like what I like or what I bought.
Yeah, or else
You're wrong.
Yeah, we can't even be having this
Right.
conversation.
We can't even be in the same room together.
Exactly. That's the whole point of the
Take your
conversation.
GT3 RS and get out of here.
Car sucks.
Then
trash.
Then you add price point on top of it, and then it gets really intricate because you're like, you can get a 600 LT right now for right around 2, and you can get a 720, greatly dependent on year, for mid 2s. So let's keep it at like a $50,000 difference.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the difference in vehicle for $50,000 compared to like any other model and any other leap between automotive makers, especially like supercar. There's no other brand that has such a crazy leap between the two cars for only $50,000.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to get a car, let's say your budget was $250, do you go with a 720 or do you go with a 600 LT?
Again, it depends on what you want. Do you want the race car for the street? Do you want like the Lotus Elise or Exige? That kind of rawness that just is, when you're in the canyons, you're so connected to it, and and you have that direct experience. And if that's what you want, then it's like, yeah, no, the 720 doesn't deliver that. Do you hate that I'm like giving you?
No. I love it. No. You have no idea. For me, I love it. He's just,
I'm
you've
looking
said
at-
so many trigger words for him. You have no idea. Like, he loves like everything you're saying. He's dialed up.
I'm looking at him
He
because I'm
loves it,
like,
really.
maybe the 600 LT is my dream car
That's what I'm saying. Literally.
based on how you're describing it right now.
But-
I had an Elise, and then I had a 4C. Now I have nothing. So
So
don't ask.
600 LT is the natural
It sounds
progression.
like the 600 LT
Is a
because
natural
it's not going to be a 911. That's for sure.
But if I did like road rallies where, okay, I'm not driving through canyons or I'm tracking it, like it's hard to be a 720 for road rallies and just that kind of comfort. And again, like it is faster on track, but just they're different missions.
Yeah.
So
They're different. Yeah, that's perfect saying. They're different missions. The
Yeah.
feel of it is completely different.
I gotta get a 600.
That's telling you.
You just
That's
ruined me. I think.
because it's funny because before I got the 720, I was legitimately debating on getting a 600. We were in Dallas in mid-February and we were at a dealership that had a 600. And we went to go look at it and we were just checking it out. And I saw the car in person, and I've always been a huge fan of them because, not that they're extremely rare, but like in the overall McLaren series, you think of 570, you jump to 720. That's kind of how it is. It's kind of like that ugly stepchild type thing where you don't 100% consider it out the jump if you're not like in the realm and you know about it. So I was looking into it and I was like, this thing doesn't weigh shit. It's got all this power, the top center exhaust, the fact you can roll the window down and it's right here. I'm like, this sounds like the driver's car.
yeah,
So I was like, let's go look at it. So we went to go look at it. This was a Papaya Spark with all carbon options. I was like, this thing is bad.
It was bad.
And then I want to say it was like I think it was a 2020. It had like just over 10,000 miles and they wanted like 220 for it or something like that. And I was like, okay. I was like, this is kind of right where I want to be. And then I started looking at 720s and then I was like, I know what the 720 feels like, and the price point was not that much greater. I was like, well, fuck, what's the purpose of getting this and this? And then that's when I started understanding. I was like, okay, this is the raw version. This is the souped up version. And then I ended up going with the 720. Now I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what would the 600 LT be like? My curiosity is just peaked.
No,
just a
but come
little
on. We know you're not the raw canyon
No,
experience desire guy.
I'm definitely.
You bought the right car for you.
I think I did.
You did.
But my curiosity it scratches me ever so often. I wake
Well,
up sometimes
hopefully,
in the
like,
night, I'm
hopefully
what the fuck would
not
life be like if
not
I
too
got
far
the
in the
600?
future. You'll be able to drive one
100%.
because I'll have one.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And we'll just trade.
yeah.
That'd be,
And then you guys both had the best of both worlds. So.
Yes.
that'd be great. We both have
Trade.
McLarens though, and then they're both down.
You'll be out of a McLaren by then, though. Let's be real.
You think so?
Probably.
I'm already.
You'll be in a GT3 RS.
He'll be. That's yes. He'll have evolved. We both know it's inevitable. You know, it's like that's the final.
It's gonna be my biggest troll. This is what's gonna be like once we make it and we're huge. I'm gonna be like, all right, guys, new car reveal, and it's gonna be just GT3 RS, and just be like, fuck everybody.
I'm gonna start sending you some GT3 RS swag. Just,
Please do. You understand? I will rep the shit out of it. You have no idea.
We have a GT3 shirt.
We do have a 991 GT3 shirt. One of my buddies for my birthday got me a Porsche hat specifically. He walks up to me. He's like, "Do I have a really good birthday present for you?" I like been waiting to give it to you. I was like, "Bet." He walks over and he hands me a McLaren bag, like from like a dealership.
Nice.
I was like, "Dude," I was like, "No way." I pulled it out, Porsche hat. And I was like, "This is the biggest crock of shit I've ever seen in my entire life." Oh my goodness.
How do you feel about Porsche?
I've raced them a lot.
Yeah.
Won races with them. I like.
the mid-engine ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you raced?
No, I raced GT3s and driven the Cup cars a bunch. Coach a lot of guys that race in the Cup series.
So then,
I mean, for a track, you got to
say he's probably the only guy that actually understands what the car can do for what it's built for.
Right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the G3 and then like its actual track usability? Is it truly the ultimate track car in comparison to everything else that you can say, like a 600 LT?
Well, if we're crossing brands,
Let's cross brands. Let's dive a little. Let's get crazy right now.
Let's get crazy?
Yeah, let's get a little crazy.
But the Ford GT is like $1 million.
Yeah.
So I know you're going to try to push the Ford GT.
No, I'm not pushing the Ford GT because of my involvement.
No,
It's,
I know that. I'm sure it's an amazing car. I
Yeah.
just mean like when we talk about that's like that would be competing with like the Senna.
I'll
We're
give,
talking about
I'll
like
give
the
you a
lower
simple,
like that. I wouldn't put that in the same category as like the GT3.
I'll give you a simple one. Coming from a track experienced driver, what would you pick for a better track day car? A GT3 or a 600 LT?
that's tough. Like they're both great. So again, it depends on the mission, depends on what you like. How has your 720 been reliability wise?
Actually, and it's funny you asked that, amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. Granted, I haven't had it an extensive amount of time. Okay. It's been a little over 2 months, so not a lot of time by any means. I bought it with 11,500 miles, and I just crossed today over 15,000, and I have had no issues.
That's great because it really seems like they're a little bit hit or miss. That
Exactly.
You have a car that's a lemon or something that's just problematic. It's always in the shop. Or like I know guys that have 12Cs or
Bulletproof.
675s that, or after the 650s, and yeah, bulletproof, never had a problem. So hopefully, fingers crossed, yours is one of those good ones. But that's kind of one of the biggest criticisms and concerns is, are you going to have that same reliability where the Porsches are rock solid? You don't have anywhere near that same level of overall known problems or consistent issues. So like, depending on everybody's personal situation, if you have like a couple different cars, then yeah, like I love the McLaren and I really, really like that. But the reliability of the Porsche is a positive. The Porsche is definitely not as pure being rear engine compared to like mid engine and all of that. But it's also fun because it's a challenge. It's a character. And that's why like air cooled Porsches are off the frickin' charts, is because people like that romance. They like that character. They like that character, but they don't like the old Italian character of cars blowing up, catching fire, and
Right, the whole nine.
and breaking all the time. But but that kind of spirit is still in the 911s. So
Which people don't realize, back when the air-cooled Porsches were the air-cooled Porsches, nobody fucking wanted those cars.
yeah,
Nobody wanted those fucking cars.
yeah,
Then all of a sudden,
Well, that's
it
the
just
formula
turned.
to the most desirable future cars.
It is.
No one wanted them when they came out. Everyone wants them later.
Literally,
How it
a
works.
second something drops and it's not desired, I'm like, give it 20.
You should get one.
Give it 20.
If
That,
something's-
that thing is going to be worth
If there's a
some
car
dollars.
and they said they were going to make 600 and they only made 300 because they couldn't sell them all, and
LFA.
exactly, and they're sitting on lots, go snatch one up as quick as you can.
Literally sprint to it.
Yes, pick it up for 50 under MSRP and hold it until it's 3x MSRP.
Easily. Probably
What a
more.
joke. LFA. Have you driven one of those?
I have.
How was that? I'm interested.
I was actually blown away. So first of all, they're
Can't talk about
like
sound.
that.
I don't hear anything about sound.
Yeah, the sound. It's going to be sound. It's definitely sound.
All sound.
Definitely. But that's what it is.
Yeah, sure.
So like the Carrera GT and the LFA are like two of the greatest modern sounding cars.
Say that again. What are the two? Carrera GT?
Carrera GT and
Okay.
LFA. So both V10s, both screaming like an F1 car,
Right.
both badass. And then like a big part of that LFA was everything about the sound. It does sound amazing, and Yamaha helped build it and tune it, and there's like voids under the dash that makes it sound blah, blah, blah. And I have to say, after driving it, I was let down because it sounds so much better behind it than it does inside the car. Like they're like, oh, we put these tubes in here to harmonic resonance, blah, blah, blah. It's like, just roll the windows down. It's like a million times better. Or like if you put a muffler on it, or not straight pipe, but if you made the exhaust louder, it would sound better in the car than probably all the work that they did there. So sorry, Lexus engineers, but like I would,
Yamaha, you were a waste on this project.
I would rather drive behind it than to drive it. But It is definitely a grand touring kind of car. So it's not a Carrera GT. It's not a 600 LT. So its mission is different, but it's awesome. It's a cool, comfortable Lexus supercar.
At the end of the day, it's a Lexus. That's kind of what I always get.
And a Yamaha.
Yeah.
I wonder how many LFAs out there have aftermarket exhausts.
Yamaha's awesome because like they made the 2JZ Super Engine, they made the 3S GTE.
They make amazing
They made
pianos.
the 2Js. Really?
Yeah.
I'm
They make amazing
uneducated as shit.
trombones.
Well, they didn't like. I think they were involved in the head design. They might have built the head, but they were definitely involved in the design of the 2JZ.
That's something that I did not know.
Yeah, Yamaha and Toyota do a lot together.
That I did not know.
So it sounds like you've driven a Carrera GT as well.
I have not.
Oh, okay.
That is on the
design.
list for
That's
sure.
you like the sound of the Carrera GT then?
I do. Yeah.
That's
That's
on
a
my
wild
list.
statement to
I
say
want to
that's
drive
one of
that
the
car
best
so bad, and this is kind of new. I don't know if I've told you this before, but so one, I don't really like driving stick that much. Like I know how to drive it. I don't really enjoy it that much, but I'm also not that great because I don't really care to do it. So I never like owned a stick car. Or actually I had it on a lease, so I lied. I have owned a stick car. I don't know how I forgot that. But
He had the lease for like a week. So there you go.
longer than a week. But that's
4C.
Yes. Dual clutch. Give it to me. But I kind of want to like one of these when we've got some stuff, I'm going to get some random
Miata.
stick beat or like a
Miata.
Miata.
Miata's always the answer.
I was thinking about a Fiat
Miata.
500 Abarth, but
I've heard that a lot. They just get like a shitbox Miata and just absolutely just have the time of your life. Is that really?
They are so much fun. Like I had 5 of them. Really? Yeah.
might
I
get a
turned them
Miata.
into 2 of them into spec Miata race cars, but yeah, like they do everything right. 50-50 weight distribution, proper suspension geometry. Like it is a proper little race car.
Is that crazy or what?
It is crazy. You
So
can't.
I'll get a dialed up Miata one day and just really get really good at it and learn how to heel toe and everything.
Yeah.
So that when I get the opportunity to drive a Carrera GT, I don't go, I'm too scared.
Oh, I'm jumping in there. I suck at driving stick. I'll burn the shit out of that clutch. Sorry, man. You shouldn't let me drive your Carrera
Here's
GT.
$1,000.
They won't slap me with that bill. Can I ask you a very specific Porsche question that I've kind of always wanted to ask somebody that could probably answer this question?
You and Porsches. What
I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand.
what has Porsche done to you?
They've done so much. Yeah.
Point on the doll where Porsche hurt you.
touched me. They have traumatized me so much. You have no idea. But this question I've always wanted to ask because so my old man is very big into racing, but he's into like drag racing, NHRA, that whole side of things. But coming from an understanding, he taught me and educated me on a lot of stuff that I've forgotten 90% of it, but even the 10% that I've remembered is a good amount. One of the things he always told me is that Porsche is super big and everyone always talks about, the mass amount of people talk about the handling of the car, that it's extremely mid-handling. So then you automatically correlate it for people that don't know, and then you correct me if I'm wrong here, because I might sound like an idiot saying this, but I'm not scared to sound like an idiot. People think that because the car is rear engine, that's why the car handles so well. But if I'm not mistaken, that actually hinders it depending on it is because of the way the weight is and where the weight distribution is. Is that correct?
It is definitely a inherent challenge, I guess. Like that's not where you want an engine,
Right.
But that's where like going back on the history of it. Ferdinand Porsche, Volkswagen Beetle, rear engine makes like that, and then they just were stubborn Germans and stuck with that. But like that is
Germans are.
that was the quintessential. This is where it's supposed to be. It's where-
And we're not doing anything about it.
So yeah, they stuck with that. There are some inherent like positives. So it is more nimble because you have all that mass going around. But like I raced a 1974 Porsche RSR at a historic race, and that thing was like it was a real fun to drive. But man, that thing was a challenge.
Really?
Like you don't even like lift off the throttle. You like accelerate less and it's already wanting to rotate on you. But I had a blast driving those things because of that challenge. So again, like it's not ideal. What's ideal? Like Formula One cars, mid-engine, centered mass, like kind of like a 40-60 weight distribution is
What you want.
generally ideal. So you have a problem is that you have a lot of weight in a bad area, but you can make anything work. Like
Obviously.
that's kind of the thing is you can pretty much make anything work. So like the old race car Porsches had massive tires and the rear of the cars were like an RWB looking thing in the back, but then skinny up front because they're trying to prevent that engine from
Spinning out.
reverse darting itself into a wall. So like they were able to make it work. They won a lot of races, and Porsche's whole brand was built around the 911, was built around racing. So that's all awesome stuff. And then there's kind of the mystique of, oh, they're like, Porsche drivers are so much better because they can handle that and blah, blah, blah. But it is a unique quirk and challenge. So if you have somebody who doesn't have that kind of experience, yeah, it's a major challenge. But also on the flip side, if you put some of those like classic Porsche driving guys who don't drive anything else into a normal car, like they drive it weird and they're also slow. So it is a quirk, but then that's what makes it romantic. That's what they distinguish the brand
Its own
for.
personality like that. It has its own unique feel because of that aspect.
100%.
That's what I was trying to understand.
That they won so many races with that and refined it to such an amazing degree. So yes, like ideally you don't put the engine in the back, but also you don't put the engine out the way front either. Like that's why you look at a Viper or AMG GT, the whole engine or a Corvette is behind the front wheel center line.
Yes.
So it's front midship.
Right.
Like that you're
only behind the front
centralizing
axle.
that mass.
100%.
But like older cars, most of the engine was out the front of the car. That's not good either. You can't turn that.
You can't.
So that's not good. Rear engine Porsche is not good. You could make both of them work, but it's just what sacrifices do you make trying to make that work?
Yeah.
So then it almost goes into this, and I can't believe I'm about to say this right now. It almost scares me to think if Porsche was just like, let's just put it in the mid, how crazy the car's potential could probably even grow.
That's what a Cayman is, and that's why they slow them down. That's why they give them less power than GT3s. And then when you have like a GT4 RS that actually starts to close that gap, like it is incredible.
So the
Those things
GT4,
sound
I'm
insane.
actually a fan of those cars. GT4 RS, I like them.
I like them.
Those probably, if I had to pick, like if you had to absolutely like choke me to the point where you'd be like, you have to pick one, and I couldn't just exit myself out of the question, I would probably pick a GT4 RS.
over a GT2.
That's a good one.
I'm a GT2 RS guy.
Yeah, see,
we got him
that's a
with
different one. I don't know.
He thought he had something picked.
I think I did, but now
I know
think
him
you
better than
fucked
he
me.
knows himself. That's the problem.
He does actually, which is kind of scary.
GT2
I don't know,
RS.
man. What it is
That's
I
me.
like. Believe it or not, I like the GT4 look better than the GT2 RS look.
I think the GT4 RS looks really good.
All right, I'm gonna say this. I'll pick the GT4 over
Sounds
the
the same,
GT2 until the new GT2 RS comes out, because I guarantee you that I'm gonna like that.
I gotta give him props. The 992 GT2 RS will be something to be reckoned with.
Is that even like in development, or have they announced anything
No.
about it? No,
It's
they
out,
haven't?
right?
No, the new one,
992 GT2?
the 992.
Oh, GT2
My
RS.
bad,
yeah.
my bad. The
I'm
992.
thinking GT3 RS.
992.
Yes.
992
GT2 RS.
GT2
Yes.
RS will be,
That would be ridiculous.
it will be ridiculous. It will be. It's not like
Supposedly.
they're not going to make it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they haven't announced
Porsche
it,
is in the business of making money. They're going to make the car.
But that's the whole thing. That's what kills me is like they squeeze. This is okay. To answer your fucking question, why the fuck do you hate Porsche? This goes on to it. They squeeze the shit out of their customer bases more than
Do
any
they?
car brand. They've milked the fucking 911 platform more than anything by making very subtle tweaks. I can already see him trying to piece me apart in my answer right now.
Yeah.
Making
You
very
just have such a weird
way to say shit.
opinion on this matter.
I do, because I'm very finicky, but this is just the way I am. They make such subtle tweaks to a platform over fucking a 50-year history, and yet the customer basis is just so like change the headlights, body panels a little bit, run it up. All of a sudden, everyone's boom, 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 boom. Then the same couple of years, they do a refresh, and it's the same thing. Versus every other moniker or every other brand that does either refresh or a new model, it's not a great change, but it's enough of a change where you'd be like, okay, this is a new car, this is something else. Like even take the 991 to 992. Obviously, they're different platforms and like they look a little bit different, but in all reality, they're such minor little tweaks and modernism to them. It's the same fucking thing for 50 years. Let's hear it. Go ahead. Tear me to living pieces right now.
991, 992 are essentially same chassis with tweaks and changes. 996 and 997, essentially same thing. Like, yes, there might be some chassis things that were changed in the tub, but essentially like the vast majority of it is the same. Just like the 458 and 488, very similar. And the
To a certain degree.
360, 430, same thing. So you have those same 348, 355 Ferrari. So
How long was the
You just went back too far for him.
How long was it? Fuck you. How long was
what's
the
a 355?
That was that black car we saw earlier.
I was gonna
that
say,
John was
I
like,
know,
I
bitch,
want
I
one
know.
of
The
those.
one that sounded
I
real
know,
good?
I
Yeah.
know. Yes. How long was the 991 platform around for?
I don't know.
Do you know? I don't know. I'm asking.
Oh,
The 991?
Yeah. When did that first platform come out?
15?
Yeah.
I think 15.
14, 15.
Yeah.
The 991? Yeah?
Yeah.
You're 100% sure?
No, we both.
I'm
just
pretty
said
sure it's
we're
around
not 100%
2015.
sure.
Let's say 2014. And then now the 992. So that's what? Let's call it 11 years. 11 years, those two generations of Porsche. Take every other major moniker and take that same time-year gap, and then let's break down all the models.
First of all, the 992 came out in 2019.
2020.
2020 was
The 992, first year.
So
of
it's
the
like 8 years. But then they're going to keep
14
the
years.
992, which is
2014
gonna,
to now. That's 10 years.
2014 to when the 992 came out.
No, okay, I'm talking about now.
You're
Even
talking
still-
about
Because it is the
4
same
years
I'm
platform.
talking about
to the
now
next
to
generation.
today. I'm
because
talking
he
about
is
from-
saying the same platform,
So
essentially.
take 10 years of what Porsche has done with the two platforms that they have out with the fucking whatever you call it, the damn
Yep.
yes. Compared it to all the other major automotive supercar brands in the same 10-year gap, the products that they have out compared to Porsche when it comes to that.
Nissan
Lamborghini's
GTR.
the same.
Lamborghini,
They didn't hear
Aventador, all that stuff, and then let's take Ferrari, like he was saying, 458, 48, somewhat of a similar dynamic, but again,
They added turbos and changed the body panels.
that's a lot in my opinion. What is
No,
what,
that's
That's
the
not a
same.
lot?
Crazy what he constitutes as a lot and not a lot. Because earlier he was just
No, it's the same
change the
platform.
body panels, some headlights.
that's fair.
Then
I
it's
guess
like
that's
some
semi-fair.
body panels and then add 2 turbos.
Because the expensive thing is like the chassis. So, yeah, those.
That's
but
the
then,
big
okay,
difference that makes everything.
here, Gallardo, Murcielago. Oh, Murcielago? Yeah, Murcielago.
What about them?
semi
Same car.
far.
Are they?
Yeah.
Semi.
No, same.
He kind of has a point that we say. In terms of like what he talks about being like the big, like, okay, it's.
Or
kinda-
I'm sorry,
it's-
no. My bad.
Gallardo.
Gallardo, Huracan.
Huracan?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
You think, well, because why? Because just the chassis is the same?
Essentially,
It-
there are changes,
Right.
but it's essentially the same.
What it is exactly what you said. It's what constitutes as enough of a change.
So forget
to
the
satisfy
Gallardo.
somebody.
Huracan, how long has that thing been around?
No, we were just talking about this. It's
2014.
actually funny that like the last episode we recorded, we talked about this exact concept.
Countach, that's a Huracan.
There. Well, it's like
Look at his face.
It's the same thing we were talking about with the Aventadors. You have all those crazy one-off. The Lamborghini has these crazy one-off versions of like the Scion and stuff like that. Those are just rebodied Aventadors.
No, that Scion thing is a carbon tub. That thing's cool. Like that's completely
What's it? The
different.
Veneno?
Or that. I don't know. I can't keep
There's
track.
the Veneno, the Scion, or the Scion, whatever the fuck it's called. There's like one more, and then you have the
Countach.
Aventador. They're all rebodied Aventadors.
Countach is not.
The
Countach is
The Centenario, the Veneno, and the Scion. Those are literally 3 rebodied Aventadors.
I think
And the Countach.
I forget which one, but the track version
What'd you say? Why you say no to the Countach?
because it's a
No,
Huracan.
the new Countach.
Yeah, it's a Huracan.
The new one.
Yeah.
No, it's a Aventador.
Is it a Aventador chassis?
Yeah.
I was just looking at it the other.
Fuck, I don't
Or
know.
There's a
earlier
gold
today.
one today. Yeah.
Because here's
Yeah.
the thing.
Aventador.
I want to believe you,
I'd put money on it.
but this fucker
You
is an
might
encyclopedia.
Be right.
I hate like he's an encyclopedia when it comes, especially Lamborghini. Now we're in Lamborghini. I wouldn't doubt him.
They haven't rebodied the Huracan like that. The Huracan, they just do a million versions of the Huracan,
That's
Yeah.
true.
but they don't rebody the Huracan as something different.
Yeah, I didn't
Aventador
look at
is-
the suspension on it, but then again, like the Aventador and Huracan have a lot of similar general architecture.
Yeah.
They're not the same. I'm not making that statement, but yeah, I don't know. It just the A pillar and the side window looked more. There's a Aventador right there.
I was like, well, we're gonna go mobile for a second. let's freaking bring it out here for a second. But it's like
Either way, though, it is a modified version of that chassis. So going back to your point, again, not saying that it's exactly the same because there are changes, but when you're saying the 991 and 992, the fact that they share essentially the 95% of the same structure, same thing for all those models that you just said, and Gallardo's a Huracan and so forth. And then Nissan GTR, that was like identical for like 50 years.
absolutely. Well,
Not 50 years.
Even like again, I'm not too familiar with the Audi R8, but I imagine that platform.
It's the same as the
It's the
Huracan.
same shit. But even back to what 2000 and what? Okay, like 2008. How different is the platform from 2008 till now? How many times they changed the chassis on that thing?
they always have little updates like, oh, we're gonna like brace this part of the chassis more, but essentially
the same platform.
like they're not tube frame because they're like box frame, space frame, like a proper race car. But yeah, that kind of building that chassis is not as expensive as like stamping stuff, body panels for not body panels, but chassis panels of like the Porsche.
I got a question for him.
Hit him.
All right, this is a specific, pointed question. As a race car driver, you're grabbing 3 keys to a track day. Road cars though, not like cup cars.
Mm-hmm.
What keys are you grabbing?
I think I know 2 out of the 3.
GT3 RS.
All right,
Is this a real answer?
I appreciate the time.
I don't know if it's a joke or not at this point.
So grabbing keys
Is it?
to go track.
Yeah, to go track. Road cars.
Is
to
it
go
a
track.
joke?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I guess we're about to find out.
Any budget, any
budget.
This is the only question that's an acceptable answer to.
True,
I won't get mad at that fucking.
Yeah.
If you put that in there, I won't.
would I had to have driven it before or things that I want to drive?
That's a good question. Start with
No, fuck that. Give him whatever you want.
okay.
Whatever you want.
Anything.
Anything.
McLaren F1.
Okay.
Fuck me.
Yeah. See what you do when you give them anything.
Yeah, I know.
Of course.
Hate to say it, but I'm really on this GT1 kick. So the 911 GT1.
Okay.
And hate to be that guy. I'm not going to say Ford GT because everybody's going to hate on that. Everybody's going to hate on that. So
You can though if you want.
nah,
If it would be.
We invite
the
the
answer.
hate.
No.
So.
if I say Ford GT, you're going to have like 100 comments of, oh, he loves Ford, and which love the GT, and it is awesome. But on things that I want to drive, I would say Zonda R or Huayra R.
Holy
Alright.
shit.
Yeah, I mean, seems like it'd be a good one.
Yeah.
What about under $1 million?
Under a
So all
million.
those cars would be over $1 million.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's all I want to drive.
Yeah. Makes sense. Let's move the budget to $1 million and see what the answers are then.
Under a million. 600 LT.
Okay.
There it is.
That's up there. See, now you took Ford GT off the table.
I want to hit a couple different categories here
Yeah.
because I know there are going to be different answers every time I tweak the category.
The 600 LT, really? That's just fucking.
It's apparently that good.
That's what I'm saying.
It is.
Oh,
Like over a 765 LT?
For track. He said track. Now I have to
That's
That's what I'm
drive to
saying.
the track.
It's that track. It's that such a good track car.
a
that
baby
it
Ford
beats the
GT.
top thing. That's fucking crazy.
a baby.
Now I love I love the 720. It is awesome, but he asked me track.
what
So
I'm saying.
for his Elise 4C,
I got to drive one of those bitches, man.
yeah.
Anybody has 600 LT that wants me to drive theirs? Let's do it.
All right, 600 LT.
600 LT,
What else we got?
GT2 RS. And original. Can it be a modified car or it has to be bone stock?
Yeah, modified.
Depends on how modified it is.
Okay.
If you say some scandalous shit, I'm going to throw it out. But
All right. So I'd say a reasonably modified coilovers, tires on a original NSX.
that's fair. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just like a track setup NXX.
Yeah, very commonly sporty
Right.
NSX.
You seem to like those NSX platforms, huh?
They're one of the best chassis ever. Like you look at the suspension, the forged aluminum suspension on that thing looks better than the Ford GT, looks better than the Aventador, looks better than I would even if you like plated it gold, it would look better than Pagani's. Like it is incredible the art of that. Like you see all this like AI generated like natural whatever curvature stuff where they make structures out of the organic
Zinger.
AI exactly.
Zinger.
So you look at an NSX control arm, it looks like Zinger designed that
Really?
back in like the 80s. So that's amazing.
I got to look more into this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
I thought
just
I
the
underappreciated
chassis
that
dynamic.
platform.
Like we're just at the Ayrton Senna's event thing in Irvine, and he was involved in the development of that car. Like that thing just is an amazing driving car. So in terms of enjoyment, really enjoy driving 600 LT. Like I'm really camp GT2 RS for Porsche. Just the power. You have the weight, so you're battling and managing that, which is fun. And then kicking it old school, even more pure NSX.
I didn't know they were that good.
They are that.
I had no idea. Are you kidding me? He's honestly the first person that has like raved about it to this extent.
For real.
So you've piqued my curiosity for sure.
Because you also you carry a certain bit of credibility with it. But there's also are you a sommelier to the point where someone goes, this wine is amazing, and then I taste it, I'm like, yeah, it's good. Maybe.
Who knows?
For your budget. Well, because it'd be like, oh, well, this is a like $15,000 bottle of blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't afford this, so screw you. Like, you're a plebeian. No, like, if that's a good wine for a budget, for a whatever, like, yeah, great. So, yes, a sommelier of cars.
Yeah.
Let's say one of the viewers wanted to go out and just get an NSX and do a couple little things that you think are semi-necessary to make the car perfectly fine-tuned. What do you think that price range would look like for somebody to get a dialed-in NSX that would compete? And you'd be like, this is worth it.
I bought my first car for $18,000.
Your first NSX.
My first NSX.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That's
anymore,
not
is it?
happening.
That's
No. And then my car got rear-ended and destroyed, which was super sad. And then the one that I got to replace it was over $60,000.
Okay.
So probably and again, it depends. Do you want like a nice car with less than 100,000 miles on it, and you're going to be in kind of the $70,000-$80,000 range? You could be over $100,000 if you want the newer ones that are like very
PJs.
cherry.
I think PJ's was like 170 or something like that.
His older one?
His NSX.
The older version.
The yellow one that he had. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He doesn't have a new one.
No, I was going to say, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
He paid $170 for that thing.
It's like,
So it has to be a newer than 2002, probably.
yeah. It's like
And then
it was an
a
04
rare
and
color.
05 and it's
Oh, yeah.
yellow and it is like
Original miles,
perfect.
one owner, like stupid. Like,
Yeah.
It's actually, I think the story he was telling us, the way he brought it, was he was following the car. I think you saw it. He was at Boca Raton car show. Older gentleman had it and was like, sell me the car. And he's like, I won't sell you the car. Well, the guy ends up like slowly start to die. So PJ was like, just lurking. The guy ended up passing. Immediately talked to the wife.
Oh, that's awful.
Give me the car. Give me the car. Give me the
The
car.
wife sold him the car.
The wife sold the car immediately, and then he copped it. And
I
he's
think he
like,
waited
yes.
like 3 years to buy that car.
Jeez.
Yes. He vultured the hell out of that thing. He vultured the hell out of the thing. But then again,
So he probably got it for a good deal.
Respect
It's probably
to each
worth
their own.
200.
what do you think would it be like? Let's say, can somebody get like, again, when you say nice car, I'm not talking about like in terms of being mint condition, but just something that still has life to it, that's going to be semi-reliable.
But that's another thing. It's a Honda. It's back when Japanese cars were super reliable. So they're bulletproof, which is awesome. Like,
So what's a good mileage to pick that car up then?
my old car had like 160,000 miles on it, and it was
Are you fucking
amazing.
serious?
Dude, the guy that bought my 4C has a 250,000 mile NSX.
Yeah, no problem.
He's driven it across the country multiple times.
Like, worst case, you could change out some bushings, but the chassis, forget about it. Chassis is fine.
Isn't that crazy?
It's actually blowing my mind. I'm gonna fucking do research after this on this fucking thing.
You might buy one.
Like, they don't
Next
like wear out. They're
What's the
amazing.
power on these cars?
So the original is 270, and then they went up to 290.
I
But
saw the hand motion. I go, there's the caveat. There's the caveat.
Well, I mean, you build them out.
So let's say, what can you do? How much money do you have to dump into it to make it competitive in today's standards?
well, today's standards, that's when you're going to have to put a turbo on it.
Okay.
And there's
Now you're talking. Yeah.
there's a few people that do that, a few different shops. But yeah,
turbos.
when that chassis has 500 horsepower at the tire, that is like perfect. That thing is incredible.
What do they weigh? They're light, right?
They're-
27?
Yeah, about 2,800.
Really?
I'm good.
But
I didn't even know.
without
I know,
doing
yeah,
that-
Like,
you
you know
just
what?
felt
Based
it.
on the time, the era, the car, 27.
The vibe. Yeah. It's a 2,700 chassis.
well, it's like one of the first all aluminum chassis cars ever made. The valve covers are made out of magnesium. The
It's actually
connecting rods are titanium.
to make out of magnesium back then.
yeah.
That's fucking.
But they never caught fire.
No.
That's good.
Well, it's not a wheel. So
Right.
Your personal project, that's just rebuilding your new one. Or You only have one NSX. What was your other project car?
RX-7.
RX-7. That's right. RX-7.
So I had an NSX.
Yeah.
Then I was building that out.
Mm-hmm.
Did the updated bodywork on it and suspension, everything, and actually turned a pretty fast lap time at Buttonwillow. And then it got rear-ended, got a new car, put everything onto the new car, and then my turbo motor is being built right now. And then once that goes in, that thing will be a lot of fun. So the first NSX I ever drove back in like 2003 had 500 horsepower, and it was amazing. Then with those guys in that team, we set records, time attack records all over the country in that NSX. So have a lot of seat time in NSXs, experience turbocharging them and making them go fast. And they're still just, to this day, one of my all-time favorite cars.
So what is yours going to push? Around 500?
When I'm done with it, probably about 600 to 700.
Let's go.
That's to be a hell of a
Yeah.
car.
That's going to be sick. In 2,700 pound car?
Yeah. So my goal...
Body, you're going to carbon body and make it even lighter?
So my benchmark for my personal build and everything is the 600 LT. So I did a 145 at Buttonwillow in that, and that's what I'd like to do in the NSX as well.
That's pretty fucking ridiculous.
That'd be pretty sick. To take a what year is it?
91.
Take a 91 car and beat a 600 LT.
A lot of work.
I'd tip my hat to you. I don't really wear hats because I have good hair.
What are you trying to say?
You staring at your hat.
Just trying to bring the energy.
For everyone at home that hasn't realized it too. Because honestly, I think I've only not worn a hat in episodes like fucking twice. So there you go. That's a snippet for all the viewers. But yeah.
Man. Well, that's pretty awesome. What about, okay, so the track cars, we got the track cars earlier. Now I'm going to change the category to rally drive. Talking like
Rally.
Yeah, you're going on long tail rally, 9 days, 2,000 miles, three different car options. What would be your top 3 picks be for that scenario?
Probably.
There are right answers to this question, and there are wrong
I want to know
answers.
your answers to this question.
Let's
too.
do it.
GT3
I already have it
RS.
dialed up. There's fucking wrong answer number 1.
It's the joke that never gets old.
No.
It will never get old.
So I would say probably 720, 765, 750 McLaren Super Series.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
So
Or you're saying
one of those
just
Super
one?
Series.
One of.
One of those. Like I would kind of bunch them together.
That's fair.
Because they all like ride awesome. So yeah, McLaren Super Series. Probably, I'm going to be a little bit biased on this one. GT500, new one.
Okay.
I did the One Lap of America in the GT500. Have you heard of that event?
No.
Oh man. So it's like mixing rallies and track days over the course of 8 days.
Fuck.
So basically, you wake up at 6 a.m., go to the racetrack, walk the track, get in your car. You have 3 laps to do your fast lap times. Then you hang out. Everybody does their first run. Then you do your second run of 3 laps. Then you're probably done like early afternoon. And then now you have like anywhere from 5 to 10 hour drive to the next state. And the sooner you get there, the longer more time you have for dinner and the more you get to sleep.
Oh.
But it's essentially a rally. And then the next morning you do the same thing. You do that for a week.
Every day?
Every day. So you have like an 8-day rally. So you're 8 days, like 10 different racetracks. And
Maybe I'm not a car guy.
that would be
I
awesome.
was thinking the same thing. I was like, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that.
I don't think I could do this.
I think
I
for
don't think I'm
next
built
year,
for that.
I think for next year they're going to have some regional ones where it's only 3 days, but still like 3 or 4 racetracks, 3 days. So that's not as insane. But still, when you're talking about like driving to tracks and stuff like that, and then you get to actually enjoy it on a racetrack. I did that with the GT500, the new one that I helped develop as well. But the ride quality of that, the torque, the power, cruising at legal speeds, like it is just amazing. And the 720 would be perfect for that too. Like that is the perfect car for that event. So that's what I'm kind of thinking in terms of rallies is like I had such a great experience with how comfortable and comfort's important too. Like if you're in a 600 LT or an Elise. There's guys with like Elises that just get ragged by the end of the event because it just beats them up
I can imagine.
for being in the car for that long. But
I've been in one.
So the GT500 is super comfortable, amazing. 720, same. Probably maybe like an M5 for rallies. Just again the comfort, the power, and just that kind of land missile aspect of it.
Yeah, a CS
Yeah,
in the dark matte green and the gold wheels.
sure.
Like that one. Carbon buckets. That's like the spec of
Yeah.
the CS.
It is with the carbon buckets, especially
Yeah.
because all those fucking things. That fucking car is one of its own. But yeah,
It's pretty wild.
it is pretty.
I would take.
So would I. That's the only BMW that I'd be like, I'm down for.
Yeah. There's a couple.
Do I get to answer the same question?
You want to answer this question? Yeah.
Hit the same three for like a rally type setup.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely, I think the motivation for my car is a little bit different than yours, but they're somewhat similar to a certain extent. I would do a 765 LT because, again, like you said, the Super Series,
Yep.
that's the pinnacle. Okay. Then second would be, it's going to take me by surprise, but I'm just thinking of the overall dynamic 100%. I'd probably pick a Turbo S, 992 Turbo S. I hate to say it.
Solid choice.
I would have to. Because of the rally aspect, you get everything. I'd be comfortable, but I would still be one of the faster cars. The only other car that'd be faster than me would be the 765 and the 720 and the 750S if there's one on there. The Super should be the only thing that would be better for me. Then the third thing would be kind of, do I get to modify the car at all?
Sure.
Very light modifications.
Why not?
Give me an Urus with downpipes, exhaust, and a tune, and I'm good. That's all I need.
All right.
Solely because I don't think, kind of like you said the last one, the M5, like that combination of like a little bit comfortable with the power.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but I would do it. I would do an Urus. Like that'd be, for me, be pristine because I think I could still keep up with everything, especially if it was tuned like almost 700, right around there with downpipes and exhaust. I'd be dialed in and I'd be comfortable as hell. And I'd take some passengers with me too. And we'd be having a fucking jam in the car. But that's more for like a rally, specific rally. No tracks, none of that involved.
Yep.
A rally. That's honestly, I think that's the next big event thing that we want to do is go on a rally.
Okay.
Really
What would
push
you
it.
do?
The Chiron Super Sport.
You motherfucker.
I never said a price.
I know.
And I usually pick the Pure Sport for everything, but for a rally, we want those, that straightaway you get in Vegas or whatever. I'd go with the Super Sport. The Super Sport is the one that's the top speed one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't usually care about the Super Sport, so I don't remember that one as well as the Pure Sport. Yeah, you're so mad. Take that car.
I just like, I should have known. Like that's more so my thing.
Yeah. You know what? I won't pick a Koenigsegg for the second one because of the reasons. I'd probably go 765. And then does it even matter what the third one is?
It's a fun one. That was a fun choice.
It's a Super Sport and a 765. After that, it's just really fast.
You have to pick a 4-door. We both did.
Oh, I have to pick a 4-door?
We both did pick 4-doors, yeah.
If I have to pick a 4-door, I don't want to pick the CS as well. I'm leaving the viewers waiting. They're like, wait, did the episode stop? Is my audio working? Let's go with
e-tron.
e-tron.
What a fucking hell of a pick.
Take the Taycan. I'd probably maybe the Panamera Turbo, whatever the top of the Panamera Turbo is.
Yeah, that works.
I'm not feeling that last one. I'm just like,
No, what else do I do, man?
There's a ton of options. I mean, the 4-door makes it a little more difficult.
4-door makes it tough.
It makes it difficult, but I feel like there's
What are my
still
options?
Pearl Sangway. I feel like you could have said that.
Yeah,
R6 Avant.
I wanted to say GTC4 Lusso, but obviously 2 doors. If you would let GTC4 Lusso slide for that answer, that's what I would pick. But I feel like
He also has a weird cold following for that car for whatever reason.
I feel like there's a lot of them down here. I saw like 3 of them today.
I mean, you fucking never see those.
It's a very Orange County car, I guess. It's that OC Dad car.
Yeah, trying to push his dreams to the farthest. He's like, yeah, I got 3 kids, but I'm still in a Ferrari, so deal with it type shit.
Yeah, I probably would have picked the M5 though, to be honest.
Nice.
It's great.
Honestly, a sleeper one that I would probably pick, and this is more, I do like super SUVs, is the DBX 707.
Yeah.
That car, I mean,
Those will come down a lot. Maybe that's the next move.
that might be low-key a good move. The problem is the reliability. I'm not familiar enough with those cars to understand them. Not like I fucking understand that thing out there, the 720. Like I got that shit knowing the reliability, but like even still.
How much more are they actually going to drop? Like they're already, I want to say they're down to like 130.
I got to check up on that market.
700 horsepower Aston Martin SUV.
Are you familiar with that car?
Not that much.
I that's something I would probably want. One of the cars I would desire to get more familiar with because supposedly they're fucking insane. You got 707 horsepower, and it supposedly handles pretty decently well. Only thing I've heard is just the reliability is like literally like top
British
trash.
All those
Everything
British cars.
all those fucking British cars.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Range Rovers, McLarens.
Why? Like,
It's a great
what are they doing wrong?
The answer, bro? I don't know what the fuck.
It's their
they have going on.
teeth. That's what it is. I can't explain why, but that's the reason.
It's the beans for breakfast. Is probably what it
You know, in World War,
is. it's the beans for breakfast.
fun fact, in World War II, not a single British Spitfire was ever shot down. They all just crashed.
I fucking believe that shit. I
because of the teeth. The teeth.
Because of the
beans
reliability.
And the vinegar on fries.
Speaking of which, so like East India Trade Company, England owned the world, conquered the world for spices. The hell did they do with them?
It's a good question.
What did they do with
They
it?
didn't put it on their food.
They did not.
Nothing.
They didn't pour it in their
They
beans.
just colonized the areas where the spices were. They didn't actually import anything back to the
Right.
They just brought the tea
They
back.
just
That's
bought
it.
it and sold
Yeah.
it to other countries.
That's all they did. They were just middlemen.
More tea.
The tea and the tobacco, baby.
And then we threw all that shit in the ocean. We're like, no.
Yeah.
So before we go into
We're drinking coffee.
the final guest questions, as just like with all your racing experience as a racing event, does anything top Le Mans? I'm guessing Le Mans had to be the
That I've done or just in general?
that you've done.
That I've done. Definitely Le Mans. Like that is World Series of racing. Like it is just such an amazing, iconic, tough race that, truly special to be able to compete there. And especially in the context of with Ford
GT and everything.
50 years later and being involved with the development, like from the beginning, like all of that just is really, really special.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Anything else you want to get into before we do the guest questions?
I don't know.
He's been thinking about this guest question.
No, I got the answers.
Oh, that's all what he's able to get. Fuck. I was hoping he'd be like, fuck, I still don't know what to say.
You don't know? You don't have to have anything. I just don't want to. I don't.
Was there
I
anything
really
else?
wanted to cover these topics, and
I don't know what else. Anything else that you think is interesting or?
like what we just did is what we do. We
Yeah.
sit down, we talk about cars.
Yeah,
That's
very much
perfect.
so.
Yeah.
Wherever the conversation goes naturally is where we like to just keep it flowing. Because again, you touch on your knowledge, touch on our knowledge, learn new things, exchange information. Like
sure.
now, you have
Made
no
sure to
idea.
weave your. I mean, you have the racing background, so make sure to weave that specialty kind of into the conversation. But we just like to sit down and talk about cars. We're
Yeah,
car
no,
people.
for sure.
You have
fun.
no idea. You like right now during this episode, you grabbed a syringe, okay, and you filled an NSX up in it, and you just shot me down right now. So now I'm dying.
Did the
to
same thing
live.
with the 600 LT.
Yeah, that's right. I'm
Although
dying.
when you drive one, especially if you drive one with the stock 5-speed gear ratios, you're going to be really let down because it's 270 horsepower. First gear, all right, we're good. Second gear, it drops out of VTEC and it's going to be and it's like, man, this freaking new
like,
Accord
Bluetooth full of
is
shit,
out dragging
man.
me. Like this is bullshit. Like,
You're gonna have to show us your project whenever you're done with it.
so yeah, if you drive one with a 6-speed or if you drive one with the Japanese short gears, it's way more responsive and fun. But also just driving it on the freeway is not going to be like mind blowing at all. But if
Angeles
you,
Crest.
for sure, if you take it on the crest or any twisty road, it's like, oh wow, okay, like you can start to appreciate that more. But if you just take a stock car out cruising around, you're gonna be like, man, especially coming out of the 720 and the fact that like your SUV is gonna outdrag the NSX. It's like, oh,
that
this
Volvo
sucks.
can go, baby.
So you have to
the
put that
turbo
into reality. I definitely maybe set the expectations really high for you because the chassis is amazing. The car, all of that is amazing. But if you hop hop in a R32 to R34 GTR. They have 270 horsepower. Like, okay, a little bit underrated, 300 horsepower, 320. Still, that's slow as crap by today's standards. It's like, this is lame. Like, because of your right-hand drive, you're shifting with your left hand.
Right.
Yeah, that feels.
Did you pick?
So if you can't shift with your right hand, like, you're gonna be screwed.
I'm not even gonna try.
But really,
Those
like,
special though, those older GTRs, 34, 35.
I've tracked every single generation, and I've tracked fairly stock ones and 500-600 horsepower plus built ones, and they're cool.
Not cool enough, apparently.
It's like a 996 turbo in many different ways, but I don't know. Like, yeah, they're cool.
Maybe the most overrated car. You would ask?
You go first. You ripped the first one.
Okay. So these are the guest questions. Closing it out. What's the most overrated car today?
You called it out and you hit the nail on the head. R34 GTR. Most overrated car.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
In what sense?
So again, 270 horsepower, but whatever. They're like low 300s.
Those have cult followings.
They do. That's why it's
you're
overrated.
attacking a cult here.
Bring it on. NSX.
Something that we know very well. So
bring it on, NSX. Well, I time attacked a bunch of them. So I had a 600 horsepower NSX, and I also on the same weekend drove a 800 horsepower R34 at Fontana, California Speedway. And when the R34 gets to about 130, 140, it hits an arrow wall. It is a brick.
Really?
Yeah. So when you have that much power, like, okay, it sounds amazing. Like the RB is a great sounding motor, revving to 9,000 RPM with a little few engine mods. Like it is fun. It is super fun, but also in most specs, like it's gutless below 5,000. So you really wind it out, but that is cool. I do like that. I also like Fast and Furious, especially the first one in Tokyo Drift. So I get all of that. Not a hater from that standpoint, but just the fact that it is 100% over. It is more overrated than a GT3 RS.
What the fuck are you talking about, baby?
But again, like back to you driving an original NSX with 270, 290 horsepower. It's dog slow by modern standards. So getting out of your McLaren and driving an NSX or an original GTR, it's crap. Right. And then, okay, if they're modified and they're like around 400, 500 horsepower, they start to get a little more fun. But yeah, also the oil pump gears break on those, and replacing that's a pain in the butt. And when they're modified properly, they are not overrated. But 90% of them don't have that, right. And they're running around with like relatively modest horsepower. All-wheel drive system is kind of comparable to like a 996 turbo, so it's not super pure and whatever. The Heika steering and the Tesla, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. No, give me an NSX or an RX-7, pure driving cars like your Elise, like your 600 LT. Yeah, it's like a 600 LT versus a new Nissan GTR. Mm-hmm. So you have all that stuff going on, or like you can actually feel the road, you can drive the car and have that. So yes, R34 GTR most over. I love the look of them. I want one, but because they're overrated, they're overpriced, and
yes,
yeah.
Tell you, it almost seems like most of the overrated aspect comes to the market adjustment for the vehicle.
But isn't that what makes things overrated?
True. It does.
So by definition.
Yeah, that
directly correlated.
Give me that blue R34 Paul Walker version.
I'm going to tell you.
I do want one.
I'm going to say an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
I think that shit's gross.
You do?
Like all the specs ones like that. And that's just my taste in cars. And I hope everyone comes at me for that. I think it's disgusting.
All R34 GTRs.
No one's going to come at you. No one cares what you think.
He doesn't even like GT3 RS.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
so
what the fuck am I talking about?
You have no credibility. If it's not a 720, it's
everything else
dog
sucks.
Water.
Yeah.
What about next question?
What is the most underrated car today?
I feel like I know the answer to this one as well.
Are you going to get it right? What's my answer?
Accuracy and NSX, baby.
Yes, you are.
The older version, of course. What is your take on the new version? Not to sidetrack the question.
So that's controversial. like super controversial. The original NSX was such a game changer. Ayrton Senna was involved with it. First all aluminum chassis, titanium rods, first American car with VTEC, second car with VTEC. I said titanium rods, magnesium valve covers. It turned the supercar world upside down. Countach's, Ferraris, the Testarossa, those things broke all the time. And it's Italian character. No, it's not built right. Like you can't call poor engineering or machining or execution as character. No, sucks.
Right.
Now, granted,
It's dog water.
those things are cool in their own ways, but they don't work. You can't use them every day. And that's what made the NSX such a game changer is it really is as reliable as a 1990s Accord. You use it every day. It's easy to get in and out of. Body fitment is spot on. We're talking about how you can drive them with 200,000-300,000 miles and they're still amazing. So it forced all the manufacturers to step up their game. Now you can drive your McLaren every single day and have that reliability. You can drive an Aventador or a Huracan and you're not tweaking with it every single day because everybody had to step up their game to make cars reliable. Going to the McLaren F1, Gordon Murray said the NSX was a target for his building of the McLaren F1 in terms of the usability of it. You could literally use it every day, go get groceries, doesn't beat you up. You're not trying to like climb out of a hypercar. Like it is amazing. And the McLaren F1, other than the center seat, which doesn't help with that ergonomics,
a little bit of a challenge.
You could use that every single day. So yes, that was such a game changer in many different ways for the industry as a whole.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Last question.
You got an unlimited budget to build a 3-car garage today. Your ideal 3-car garage today. What is that?
GT3 RS, a green GT3 RS, and a blue GT3 RS.
Red wheels or no red wheels?
Red wheels on
Launch spec.
the green one. It'd be a Christmas car.
That's gross.
So
It's a good looking car.
I only have 3 cars. Like this is what I live with my whole life.
Yes, that's exactly. So it's
Until
built,
you buy your own cars.
Until I buy my own cars, these are my like banked cars.
These are what you get today without a budget. You get these 3 cars. That's all you get
to fit your life.
to fit your life.
to fit my life.
Not
Not
like
like I could
racing.
sell them and have like $10 million.
No.
Okay. To
But
fit my
also
life.
not like I'm still driving these 40 years from now. Like I think that's a dumb scenario.
Okay. McLaren F1,
Okay.
Raptor R, and
Both those are answers that have been given in the past for sure.
really Raptor R.
Raptor R.
Yeah, I had one for a little while. It is incredible.
What? How many horses do those have?
They had 700. Now they have 720.
720.
But it drifts.
Really?
The freaking truck drifts.
That's pretty cool.
Like you could go through an intersection sideways, smoke barreling off the back, run over the curb, not know you run over the curb, run over a Scion XB, not know you ran over the Scion XB,
Just keep going.
and keep going. Like
I feel like this happened.
that thing is amazing.
Scion.
Like it is such a great daily driver. So crap. So I got the awesome truck, which
So you don't care about the environment.
the what?
The ice caps. We got.
I need something a little more valuable, but whatever.
Valuable.
Then an F1.
Well, so I have that. So
You've
that's
already
that
got the
car.
Picasso.
So you already got the fucking top of the top. Literally.
Do
The Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean?
I'm interested to see what this third one is.
I would say GT3. I'm just kidding.
No, like legit.
A built NSX or a Ford GT. That's what he's
I
going.
already have the built NSX, so
No, these don't count.
these don't count. But I'm gonna still build the NSX.
Right.
So that's
But in
gonna
this
be added
scenario.
to-
It's just these 3 cars are all you get.
That's it.
But you said I'm gonna buy other cars afterwards.
Like in the. Okay, I see what happened.
You fucked up.
I did. That's on me.
Because I have my F1.
Yep. That's on me. Go ahead. Keep going.
I'm gonna do a little curveball here. E39 M5.
What year is that?
That is a super curveball.
That is, I don't want the 2000 because the headlights aren't as cool. So like 2002 to 2004, 5? V8, 400 horsepower.
That's what.
Shitbox era. Yes.
Well, that's what.
No, that's when they were good.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it has.
Yeah.
That's when they were good.
One of my buddies selling like a mint condition
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Like a stupid mint condition one. I don't know if he sold
Like
it or not.
spearmint, you know,
Like stupid mint.
like mint, spearmint.
It's an interesting fucking 3-car lineup though. I think that might be the most diverse we've had so far. And honestly, like the variety, like the fact that you even threw that in there at the end, no one's having that diverse.
No, that was a
Yeah.
curveball for sure.
It's a fucking super curveball. Definitely not my garage. I'll tell you that. Right. Definitely not my garage. But I respect it. I feel like it suits your, like everything, like you said, it suits your life and everything that you like. I don't even know if I would have an F1 in mine. I wouldn't have an
I probably wouldn't either. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't respect it. Don't.
I drive an F1 every day.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you would. I don't doubt it.
Mr. Bean did.
Mr. Bean did. I don't. How many miles he put on an F1? It still wasn't like that.
Yeah, I
much.
wrecked it twice. And
He did wreck it twice. Mr. Bean needs to learn how to drive. I think maybe he put like 9,000 miles on it.
I think he put more than that.
Yeah.
He
20.
drove that a lot, I thought.
Did you see that? You know that SVJ? Did you see the SVJ at the show with all the stickers on it?
Yeah.
You know how many miles that has on it? 90,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That SVJ has cost
I
90,000
can't remember.
miles.
I don't even think he's done a transmission on it. If I remember correctly.
One.
He said he did
Somewhere.
one. That's what it is. He's a one.
So
90
it's on its second transmission.
on those SVJs too. That's not a fucking cheap transmission.
Yeah.
It's like $70,000.
I mean, he's got way more than that in depreciation. What's that car worth? 200 grand?
No.
No.
250?
No.
It's got 90,000 miles.
Still.
It's
300?
It's no, bro. It's still.
There's no way it's going for more than 300.
I would be safe to say it's going in the 4s. It has to.
No.
It has to.
No way. 350 max.
4.
It's in 90,000 miles. SVJ.
Don't matter. It's SVJ. They still sell for 700.
A Roadster?
No, regular.
Regular SVJ still goes for 700? I thought they were down to like 6.
They're still at 700.
Do you know anything about this market?
No.
Okay.
So Cosm,
Not the
I'm
SVJ.
pretty sure Cosm bought his for 700.
Shout out Cosm.
Telling you. So think about that. So you're talking about the car depreciating fucking $400,000.
I mean, with 90,000 miles.
There's no way. I'm telling you, there's no way.
90 is not that bad.
No, especially he just has new transmission in it.
On an SVJ, though?
Yeah,
He says an
We're not
SVJ.
talking about an NSX.
new transmission. Telling you, I guarantee you. I'm actually really curious to see like
When does he replace the interior?
what is the condition of the interior.
When do you replace the engine?
Good question. This is all shit above my pay grade. I don't know.
Hey, he's in uncharted waters. Every mile he drives is uncharted waters.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
All right.
I still don't think it's that bad.
I agree with you. Only because of the fact that he's done the tranny and stuff like that too. But like if it was like fucking, if it was 60 with no tranny, I'd be like, yeah, that car's worth $10. But fucking, it just depends. Obviously,
Dude, I don't know. An SVJ of 90,000. That's a lot. That's different. It's different than
everything. else.
Hondas and a lot of other things. An R8.
Very
I wouldn't be
much
worried about an R8. But then I still kind of would. Look at Will. Always in the shop.
That's because it's Will, and Will's done a ton of shit to this shit. That's why it's not. Don't blame that R8 for what Will's done to that R8. The R8 does not deserve that. That's fucking Will's doing. Yeah,
True.
this has been a great episode. Billy.
Yeah,
Yes.
this has been a lot of fun.
Yes.
A whole new perspective on things.
Very much so.
It opened my eyes to a lot of things. So
I can't wait to
appreciate
explore
it.
more. I honestly I tell you, like you scratch a different nerve that like you think you're a car guy that you think you have, and maybe some of us do more than others, but like you scratch a different nerve, and that's like a very enjoyable experience.
There's different kinds of car guys. That's
There
what it
is. I was just gonna say that. It's just the background, the different groups, the experience. There's so many different aspects of being a car guy. So
Well, where can people find you on Instagram?
on Instagram, it's at Billy J Racing.
Billy J Racing.
Yep.
We appreciate your time very much, and I hope you enjoyed your experience chatting
Oh.
up with us.
It's been a lot of fun. Been
Give Billy a
enjoying-
follow.
Yeah.
See some GT content
Yes.
and some NSX content.
You guys are a fan of Ford GT or anything Ford, you know where to go.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you again for coming on.
No, it's
And
been
making
a lot of fun.
And that's a wrap.
We're out.
We're out.